Hello and welcome. My name is Jason Sicklick, and I am in Professor Moss's Labor Studies course at UMass Lowell, and our project is to interview labor union members. And here today joining me is Professor Rosemarie Buxton, a part-time faculty member at the university.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for joining me. So, Professor, one of the questions I had is, what do you teach at UMass, and what is your background?
So I teach in the first year writing program at UMass Lowell, and I also teach for Navitas, which is a program for international students. I teach ESL in that program. I've been at UMass Lowell since about 2010, and I've been teaching since maybe about 2004.
Okay.
My background is as an English teacher. I do have a master's in English. I also have a professional background as a tech writer. So I was a tech writer before I was a teacher. I was teaching people how to write. Well, I was writing users manuals that taught people how to use computer programs back in the day before there was the mouse and the Windows.
That's
and
a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Okay. What made you decide to come to UMass Lowell to teach?
Well, I applied, so I was teaching at other places, and there was an advertisement in the Boston Globe, and I applied for the position. It was in August, so very late, and so they hired me because our population was burgeoning. And the other thing is, working in the state system is always a good thing. I had been working in New Hampshire, where the pay is extremely low, teaching night classes and working at Merrimack College as an adjunct. And Merrimack only has one semester of college writing, so usually we're not guaranteed a second semester of teaching. So it also looked like it was more advantageous to be in the university system. And I have to admit, after I've been teaching here a couple of years, I have been teaching almost exclusively for the university.
Okay. So since we're talking about labor unions, I want to know, what union are you a part of?
So I'm part of the UMass Lowell Adjunct Union, which is actually part of the UAW, the United Auto Workers.
Okay. What is your role within the union?
Well, right now I'm just a member. I'm an active member. In the past, I've been what's called a department rep, and as a rep for our department, we have a really large membership in the English department because I would say the majority of the first year writing classes are taught by adjuncts. We have a few what we call visiting professors or full-time lecturers who are non-tenure track, but most of these courses are taught by adjuncts, so it's probably one of the biggest sections in the union. I think we have maybe between 55 and 60, depending on which semester. So when I was an area rep, what I was doing was having a meeting maybe once a semester to inform my members what was going on, and occasionally I might have to deal with a grievance. So a grievance means an employee might have a complaint where they feel they're not being treated fairly by management. So they would come to me with whatever that was, and then I would go to Ellen, who's the president of the union, and bring that to her, and then we'd have a conversation about it. Typically it would be taken over at that level, but it was basically so that people within the department have somebody to go to if they know that there's a problem in the workplace.
So one question I was thinking about is, what is the union doing right now? I actually would like to know. I've been really curious.
So this is really huge. So we have been working without a contract for almost 2 years. So we had a contract that was passed, I believe, in 2011, and we've been working on a new contract. That contract has expired, and we've been negotiating this new contract where we're asking for equitable pay with UMass Amherst and UMass Boston. So UMass Amherst and UMass Boston pay about $2,000 more per course than we do here. Also, if instructors are teaching what we call 2 and 2 courses per semester, both semesters or more, they get health insurance and retirement benefits.
Really? Okay.
So what we're asking for is that we be treated the same way that instructors at UMass Boston and UMass Amherst.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a very busy
It's a big
time.
deal.
It's a big deal. The administration has been really intransigent, has been completely unwilling to move on most of the serious financial stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been
Seems really
a high
huge right
pressure
now. Yeah,
time.
a lot of pressure.
Yes, yes.
So why do you think there should be a union for teachers?
Why do I think there should be a union for teachers? Well, particularly for adjuncts.
Yeah, mainly for adjuncts.
So basically, we're employed as I can't even say part-time because some of us aren't part-time. But we're kind of employed as these contingent workers and not really being treated as professionals. But we are teaching most of the courses at this university right now, and we feel like we have a right to fairness. And without a union, we really don't have the solidarity, the support, or the power behind us to ask for what we want and what we need. And I can give you some examples of other places where I've worked where there hasn't been that kind of security. I mean, Merrimack College is one example. So, for example, the contract we currently have, which was a great contract, but we obviously needed to be better because we need that equity. One of the things that contract gave us was seniority, which means that an instructor who has been teaching over a certain number of years and is getting 2 courses per semester should continue to get those number of courses per semester and should get priority as opposed to somebody they just hire off the street. I worked at Merrimack College for a number of years, and there was no guarantee. You know, you could be teaching there for years, and the next semester you might not have a course, or in the fall you might not have a course. So things like that that are really important. Academic freedom is really important. I've worked at institutions in New Hampshire where our syllabus, our books, the number of pages a paper is supposed to be completely dictated by the administration. So virtually no freedom. In fact, one place I worked at, they actually would change your grade book if they thought. Yes, if they thought the grade wasn't a student should get. So
that's
that would never happen here.
Of course.
But you know, the employees never complained. They were just grateful to have a job, and there was really no power behind any complaints. Whereas with a union, you have the membership, you have the power. Of course, we're part of the UAW, which is a really powerful union. I know of people who've had grievance situations where the union approaching a department chair made a difference, and the grievance was resolved in that faculty member's favor. So without a union, you don't have that. You don't have those protections.
So if I was a teacher at a school for like the first time, why should I join a union?
Why should you join a union? To have those protections, basically to have that behind you. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Well, one, I can think of at least 2 examples within the English department where instructors felt that their student evaluations didn't fairly reflect their performance, where they were called to meet with their department head.
So they just didn't meet their, like they didn't show how much effort they were putting in?
Well, if you've gotten a student evaluation, right, at the end of the semester, you have an evaluation that you fill out for the teacher. So if it's below a certain level, if it's below a 3, I think if it's below a 3.5, that teacher could essentially be fired. Or even sometimes if it's 3.75, the teacher might be called in to have a meeting with the department chair. And you know, that rating could be random. You know, it could just be, it was a bad semester for several students. You know, not enough students showed up on the day the evaluation came in. I mean, it could be any number of things. Or it could just be a random thing. And with a union, actually the teacher has the right to have a union rep go into the meeting with him or her to meet with the department chair. And so you have that representation with you, which is important.
That is, yeah.
You know, job security. So when I was an area rep, sometimes I heard from senior adjuncts who didn't get assigned courses when they should have been. And I reported that to the union, and the union had a conversation with the department head, and and then that person ended up getting courses. So just to know that there's somebody there that's basically standing up for you.
Yeah. Okay. Besides health benefits, are there any other benefits or any other benefits that would help in joining a union?
So the other thing is a retirement plan.
Okay.
So we're state employees, so we don't get Social Security taken out of our pay. Now, full-time instructors get what's called a pension plan.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't have Social Security taken out, but we don't get that. So we get this really tiny retirement plan, which is only funded by our own contribution, which is quite small. Nothing is matched by the university. So if you have a faculty member for whom teaching here has been the bulk of their employment for a number of years, you have somebody who doesn't have a secure retirement.
Yeah.
I happen to work in other venues, so I have some retirement savings. But I know of people who have very, very little, and they're kind of at the end of their teaching careers. You know, they're 62 or 65, and you know, oh well, I've got $20,000. Maybe they don't even have that. Maybe they have $8,000. Yeah, it's like nothing. You know, so they don't even have a secure retirement, and then they're not getting Social Security. If you're not putting into Social Security, you're not going to collect it either. Yeah. So their Social Security earnings might be very small or minimal.
Yeah. So what has the union been doing over these past 2 years since you're trying to get the contract back?
So obviously negotiations. So we have a negotiating or bargaining team who are in endless meetings with the administration. They're actually exhausted.
By this point, I bet they are.
Yeah, they're pretty exhausted. The other thing is that we've had to do a lot of actions to draw public attention to our working conditions, and also to draw the attention of students and their parents to our conditions. So for instance, one example is when the hockey game was in the fall, the homecoming hockey game. We were handing out literature about what our teachers were getting paid.
That's
so
good.
Students and parents knew.
It'd be like, wow, this is what they're getting paid? Like,
yeah. You know, and why are teachers at UMass Boston getting paid more
than UMass Lowell? It just seems strange.
So it's been kind of a constant level of activity, both for our bargaining unit and also for our membership. So right now we're in a postcard signature campaign. We're getting colleagues and friends and family members who live in Massachusetts to write postcards to Marty Meehan. Actually, we have the postcard filled out, and you check a box, and they're all going to.
You're trying to basically, you're just doing a whole lot right now.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, because it means a lot to everyone.
The contract right now is in what's called arbitration. So we've gone through the negotiating phase where we didn't get anywhere. We went to a mediating phase where the union and the university met with a mediator who tries to get them to work together. But the university has just refused to
just pass it, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Wow.
Would you know why they're doing that, or they just
because they don't want to spend the money? That's why they're doing that. Even though, interestingly, we're only 3% of their budget.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That's in fact, instruction as a whole is only 30% of the university budget. So when you look at some of the buildings around here, what those cost.
Oh yeah. No, exactly.
Compared to what we're asking for, it's pretty incredible. So we've been working on that. Now we're in arbitration. Arbitration is basically where the arbitrators go into fact-finding, looking for, if we have reasons for our demands, and the arbitrator will probably come to the university and say, you know, this is what we think you should be doing as a university. And the university can choose to
say no, yes, pretty much.
They could still say no, which is
but you're still going to fight for
pretty
it.
frustrating. Yeah, we have to keep fighting.
Of course, yeah. So what would the union say if the university says no? What would you Would you abide, or what would you guys think?
So we've agreed to abide with what the arbitrator advises, and we want the university to abide to what the arbitrator advises them to.
Yeah.
You know, so if the arbitrator says you should be giving these folks health care,
they should deserve health care.
Yeah, we should be getting that.
Yeah.
You know, if the pay isn't quite what we're asking for, and the arbitrator said, well, we think this is fair, we'll have to abide by that. But our hope is that we get everything we ask for.
Yeah. Okay. One question I just thought of, and I just forgot to ask before, but what made you decide to study English?
Oh, I love English. Well, my father was an English teacher.
Okay.
So it kind of runs in the blood that I love reading, I love writing. In fact, everybody in my immediate family is a writer.
Okay.
So that's just been a passion for me.
So one of the questions I had was, what do you enjoy about teaching English, and what do you not enjoy about it?
Well, I guess the thing I do enjoy is, as a first-year writing teacher, I get to know the students really well. It's a small class. When I read really good writing, it gives me a great deal of pleasure.
Really?
And also to see a student's growth as a writer from the beginning of the semester to the end. I had a student in the fall semester who won one of the first-year writing program awards.
That must be
That was
cool.
very satisfying. Sometimes it's satisfying to have a student decide to go into English, to actually change paths. That happened to me once, and that student actually asked for a recommendation because he got an internship on a magazine.
Oh, wow.
So those things can be really exciting. The hard thing is the amount of work.
Oh, okay.
So even though my classes are small, I have 19 students per class, the workload as far as correcting papers, every correcting cycle is just...
It's tough.
It's tough. It's brutal. It's very time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking between 20 to 30 minutes per paper for a 4 or 5 page paper.
For 19 kids, that's a lot.
Yeah, and then at the end of college writing 2, they're writing a research paper, so that's a much longer paper.
I remember doing that when I was in it.
Yeah, and much more involved. So that's where the bulk of the time goes in, I think, is in the correcting. That's just a huge workload.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching.